Good morning everyone and welcome to the Cabinet meeting. I'm Councillor Amanda Hopgood, Leader of Durham County Council and Chair of this meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live through our YouTube channel. Before we commence with today's formal business, I'd like to cover some of the housekeeping issues for us all to follow. Please could you switch off or make silent your mobile phones. Keep microphones switched off at all times unless invited to speak by myself as the Chair. And when invited to speak, please switch on the microphone nearest to you and introduce yourself. I'd like to welcome in particular other members of the Council who are in attendance this morning. So moving on to the agenda, item 1, public questions. We haven't received any public questions for today's meeting. Item 2, minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of May. Can I please have a mover and seconder for the meeting on the 17th and also the 31st of May?
Yes, Chair. I move both those meetings.
And a seconder, please?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Can we agree the minutes are a correct record? Agree. Thanks. I can confirm, therefore, that the minutes have been agreed. Item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations from members this morning? No? Okay. So I'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Item 4, Quarter 4 2022-23 Performance Management Report. Can I ask Steve Evans, Head of Corporate Affairs, to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Steve Evans, Head of Corporate Affairs. The report sets out progress towards the targets and outcomes which were set out and agreed in the Council Plan February 22 relating to last financial year's Council Plan. The information therefore takes us to the end of March 2023. I would say that performance, the overall narrative in relation to performance is that it remains strong across the board. And I think that's a pretty sort of robust position for us, particularly in the light of the cost of living crisis and the lasting legacy of COVID-19, which we still see having an impact on ourselves, our communities and local business. The main performance report's attached to Appendix 2, and there's a more detailed suite of performance indicators set out towards the end of that report as well. The overall structure of the report is aligned to the Council Plan, as you'd expect, around the 5 key themes of our economy, our environment, our people, our communities and our Council. For ease of reference, in the covering report in paragraphs 14 to 70, we set out key performance strengths and some of the performance challenges that we face, along with actions to make remedial progress. Just as a final point, this report goes on from Cabinet, once noted, onto thematic scrutiny panels and receives sort of additional scrutiny from members. So this isn't the end of the journey. And the recommendations set out in paragraph 12 are that the Cabinet note the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Steve. Can I thank Steve and his team for this detailed and comprehensive update on our performance against the targets and actions set out in the Council Plan. The report highlights that our performance in some areas continues to be impacted by the current cost of living squeeze and legacy of the pandemic. However, this Council continues to deliver strong performance alongside a sharp focus on delivery for our service users, communities and partners. In terms of those areas where we are performing well, I'm pleased to note that in relation to our stated priorities, the following. Within our economy, Business Durham's exceeded targets number of jobs created or safeguarded with 647 against a target of 375, bringing the total for 2022-23 to 1,986 against a target of 1,500. 94% of major planning applications were determined within the 13-week target and 87% of planning applications within their deadline. This places us in the top quartile nationally. Our environment. All carbon reduction works, including the solar farm at Morrison Busty Depot, to enable it to become the Council's first low-carbon depot, are now complete. We were successful with a bid for £389,000 in the latest round of the Government's Public Sector Decarbonisation Scheme to install a heat pump at Meadowfield Depot. And in relation to household recycling, following targeted action through our contamination campaign launched in the summer, we have seen the quarterly rate of contamination fall from 38.3% to 34.63%. for our people. The referral rates of children and young people per 10,000 0 to 17-year-olds have reduced slightly and remain below benchmarks. 1,384 families were turned around through the Stronger Families programme, and focused recruitment activity to build our long-term social work capacity is producing very positive outcomes with 228 applications to date. The percentage of older people still at home 91 days after discharge from hospital into reablement and rehabilitation services is up from 88.3% in the last quarter and remains high. Our communities, the Council and its partners continue to work and take action on antisocial behaviour, with the latest data showing a 15% fall in ASB. The latest fly tipping data shows that 5,614 incidents were the lowest volume in our history and around a third lower than a few years ago. Benchmarking data from 2021-22 against the rate of fly tipping per thousand population shows that through our continued education and enforcement activity, County Durham's rate, currently standing at 10.94, is performing strongly against all our comparator groups. In England, it stands at 19.07 and the North East at 26.53, with our nearest neighbour being at 15.82. 1,250 net homes have been completed during 2022-23 and 208 empty properties were brought back into use as a result of the Council's intervention. And our Council, during Q4, we analysed the responses to our wellbeing survey, which collected the views of our staff in workplace wellbeing issues. The Council has assessed being in the top 20% nationally against comparator organisations in 6 of the 7 areas and above average in the 7th. The report highlights a number of areas that also require attention, where for a range of issues our performance has not been what we would have liked it to be, and in terms of areas requiring attention where I know action is and will continue to be taken, I would note the following. In the 12 months to the end of December 2022, more municipal waste went to landfill than we would have liked. This was driven by capacity issues at Energy from waste facilities due to planned maintenance, renovation works and unplanned maintenance. Increases in children in care, currently at 1,071, and changes to the composition of children entering care continue to cause placement pressures. Our transformation plans aim to increase capacity within our in-house children's homes, recruiting more foster carers and working with children and their families to prevent them from entering care. In special educational needs and disability services, we continue to see sustained growth in requests for education, health and care plan assessments, with significant increases over the last few years, which are also evidenced nationally. Pressure is compounded by high levels of demand in partner organisations such as Health, who are a key part of the assessment process. We have invested in and restructured our SEND casework teams and educational psychologists. However, there are national shortages for these specialist roles, which is hampering progress. And the latest data for the proportion of adult social care service users receiving a review within 12 months of their previous review or assessment continues to remain low. New reviewing teams have been established to enable all services users to receive an appropriate review of their care needs. With this, I would propose that Cabinet, in line with recommendations set out at paragraph 12, that Cabinet note the report. Can I ask if anyone else would like to speak to the report, please? Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you, Chair. It's great to see from the latest update just how much we are achieving, and just singling out one area relating to energy efficiency with our buildings and other things. Over the last few years, we've secured more funding than in all previous years combined, and we're also seeing many projects being completed or being worked on. The decarbonisation work at Morris and Busty is groundbreaking, and the work at our leisure centres, helped by securing government grants, is a game changer, with Abbey Leisure Centre energy efficiency work completed and work ongoing at Peterlee, Newton, Aycliffe and Teesdale leisure centres. And at every opportunity we're applying for and securing more grants to bring down our running costs and to make our council greener. Indeed, as you've said, we've just secured £389,000 for Meadowfield Depot. And going forwards, our aim is to further increase our own energy production from solar and other renewable energy to help bring down our energy costs with the help and the aim of saving millions of pounds. Our work also extends to residential housing in County Durham, and over 600 properties have been helped with energy efficiency improvements in the last quarter, particularly in the social housing sector, who are doing a sterling job. And we're now launching our third iteration of our business energy efficiency programme, which has so far supported almost 500 businesses. When you add in the work we've done over the last winter, led by Councillor Alan Shield with our warm spaces, it feels that on so many fronts in this area, we're making progress as a council for businesses and for our residents. Chair, we frequently don't promote our successes enough, but I'm delighted to say that in so many areas we are doing better than ever before, and I'm proud to be part of this joint administration, working together for the benefit of all residents in County Durham. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Mark. Is anyone else?
Chair.
Yes, Councillor Rawlinson.
Just a correction at 44. The transformation works at Abbey Leisure, Peterlee, and it says Seaham. It should be Spennymoor. Just a correction on that one. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Anyone else wish to make comments? Okay, can I ask Cabinet to note the report? Agreed. Thank you. Okay, item 5, annual enforcement programme tackling underage sales of age-restricted products and sales of illicit and non-compliant age-restricted goods. I'm sure that you come up with these titles to make it a tongue twister for me. Can I please invite Councillor Alan Patrickson, Corporate Director of Neighbourhoods and Climate Change, to present the report.
Thank you, Chair, and apologies for the long title. The report sets out the priorities for the coming year for the protection of young people from age-restricted products and describes some of the activity in this area from the year just gone. The report reviews activities under the Children and Young Persons Protection from Tobacco Act of 1991, the Antisocial Behaviour Act of 2003 and the Licensing Act of 2003. These acts collectively set out the bulk of the county's duties in respect of enforcement of age-restricted products, but the full list of legislation is in the report at Appendix 2. As part of the duties, the Council must consider at least once a year a programme of enforcement action in relation to sales of tobacco, spray paint and other items to young people. This report fulfils that duty, and the full programme is set out in Appendix 3 of the report. The Council has taken a long-standing and proactive approach to the protection of young people, tackling harms and criminality associated with the supply of age-restricted products, and this has been helped by the strong partnership working across the county with the Police Licensed Economy Team, the County Durham Tobacco Alliance, HMRC and many others, working both on enforcement and also importantly on education and awareness activities. The report touches on some of the successes of this approach from the last year. Now, following successes in recruiting new young volunteers, we've been able to recommence test purchase activities in the county. And this work was temporarily suspended during the pandemic for the safety of everyone involved. But it's such an important strand of the programme that it was quickly re-established as soon as it could be. I'm pleased to be able to report that the test purchase activity from the year just gone has delivered some very good outcomes in the areas of underage tobacco, underage alcohol and vape sales. And some of these are set out in the report. Tackling illicit tobacco also remains a priority, and almost 64,000 illicit cigarettes and 28 kilograms of tobacco have been seized in the 11 months to January 2023. Legal action has been taken against a number of retail premises, resulting in 2 closures and 2 businesses changing hands as a result of the enforcement activity. The sale of vaping products to underage customers remains a concern as an area of increasing activity for us, as is the seizure of illicit vaping products. Some of these products have been shown to be outside legal limits in terms of nicotine dosage, and the harms associated with their use can be considerable, especially for young people. And I'm pleased to report that joint working with enforcement agencies across the county has resulted in the removal of a significant number of these products from the open market. Education and awareness continues to be a priority alongside enforcement. These activities are part of the programme for the coming year. Paragraph 46 of the report sets out the key priorities for the enforcement programme for 23-24, and the full programme is set out in Appendix 3. Chair, the recommendations are in paragraph 6. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Can I invite Councillor John Shuttleworth, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Rural Communities and Highways, to move the report, please?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm pleased to present this report today, setting out our priorities and programme for the coming year for the protection of our young people against improper sales of age-restricted products. The report sets out a summary of our activity over the previous year, and as members will note, we have had a number of significant successes in identifying and dealing with those rogue traders, and in some cases, outright criminals that continue with these activities. I'm particularly pleased to report that as part of our continuing intelligence-led approach to this work, we've once again been able to work with young volunteers to carry out our test purchase activities. The vital part of our enforcement activities was suspended, as the Director just said there, during COVID, but it's now once again producing valuable results. I would like to pay tribute to and to publicly thank all of those young volunteers engaged in this work who, for obvious reasons, must remain anonymous, and also all the officers working in the enforcement frontline alongside our partners across the county. Delivering a programme like this is helped by strong partnership working between relevant agencies in County Durham, including the County Council, the police and other enforcement agencies working alongside members of the County Durham Tobacco Alliance Partnership. You'll see in Appendix 3, this report sets out a comprehensive set of our priorities for our community protection teams for the coming year, and I'm happy to propose the recommendations for approval. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Can I invite Councillor Chris Hood, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Adults and Health Services, to second the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to be able to speak to this report. The report highlights the extensive work carried out by the Community Protection Service, which protects and promotes the health and well-being of our children and young people across the county and includes a range of products. As Chair of the Health and Wellbeing Board, it is important to ensure that a proactive approach is taken to tackling the harms associated with a range of products, and I know that officers work closely together on this issue. The Board, and as Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Health, we are concerned about the levels of smoking in County Durham, and this extends to concerns about access to illegal vapes to children. A conference was held in March to update on the latest evidence, and the Community Protection Service contributed to this. We have also recently submitted a comprehensive response to government seeking more regulation in relation to the promotion and targeting of such products to children, while enabling access for adult smokers as a quit smoking aid. The work of the enforcement team on this and the range of products highlighted in the report is crucial, and I support the proposed enforcement programme for 2023-24 and second this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chris. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to the report? Okay, can we agree the report and its recommendations?
Agreed.
Okay, I can confirm that the recommendations are agreed. Moving on to item 6, County Durham Housing Strategy Principles and Priorities paper. Can I ask Amy Horhoff, Corporate Director of Regeneration, Economy and Growth, to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. Amy Horhoff, Corporate Director of Regeneration, Economy and Growth. The purpose of this report is to seek the Cabinet's approval to commence consultation on the Housing Strategy Principles and Priorities paper. The new Housing Strategy 2024 will replace the current Housing Strategy, which we adopted in 2019. The Principles and Priority paper is the first stage in preparation of the Housing Strategy, and we are seeking views on the draft vision, 8 principles and 5 priorities. If the Principles and Priorities paper is agreed, consultation will be undertaken on the document for 8 weeks. This is in addition to the usual 6 weeks from June the 26th, 2023 to August the 18th, 2023, and this recognises that consultation takes place partly over the school holidays. Consultation will be undertaken with residents of County Durham and other stakeholders with a potential interest in the document. The Council will make use of its partnership structure to assist in sharing information about the housing strategy, and this will also provide a way of engagement with the providers of specialist housing products and services. The outcome of the consultation will then inform the drafting of the housing strategy, which will then be consulted on again. The strategy will then be modified and developed as necessary and presented to Cabinet and full Council for adoption in spring 2024. The Cabinet is recommended to agree the Housing Strategy Principles and Priorities paper for consultation, to delegate the authority to the Corporate Director of Regeneration, Economy and Growth in consultation with the portfolio holder for resources, investments and assets to prepare and consult on a draft housing strategy based on the outcome of the feedback received from the consultation. And finally, the report requests that the report is presented to a future meeting of Cabinet in the spring 2024, advising of the outcome of the consultation on the draft housing strategy and seeking approval for the final strategy. Chair, that concludes my presentation of this report.
Thanks, Amy. Can I invite Councillor James Rowlandson, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Resources, Investment and Assets, to move the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. The County Durham housing strategy is being developed to consider housing issues across County Durham. The strategy will provide a strategic framework to inform the actions and investment of the Council and its partners, and has been developed to ensure the Council is well positioned to maximise the future opportunities for funding support. It will also align with existing or emerging strategies, including the County Durham Vision, County Durham Plan and the new homelessness strategy. It will also support the Council's inclusive economic strategy and the Climate Emergency Response Plan. As a Council, we always emphasise the importance of consultation and will therefore be undertaking an extensive housing conversation, including presentations to AAPs, partnership groups and others, 3 different surveys, a social media campaign and online events. All comments received will then inform the draft housing strategy. I therefore propose the recommendations at paragraph 7 in the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, James. Can I invite Councillor Elizabeth Scott, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Economy and Partnerships, to second the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. The housing strategy will seek to make County Durham a place that has good quality homes that meet the needs of existing and future residents that they can afford. It will also support economic growth, contribute to improved health and create and maintain sustainable, mixed and balanced communities. I therefore second the recommendations in paragraph 7 of the report. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to the report? Can we agree the report and its recommendations, please? Okay, I can confirm that the recommendations are agreed. Item 7, local cycling and walking infrastructure plans. Can I ask Amy Harhoff, Corporate Director of Regeneration, Economy and Growth, to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. The report seeks approval from Cabinet to formally adopt the local cycling and walking infrastructure plans, also known as LSWIPs. And these are for Bishop Auckland, Concert, Crook, Peterlee, Seaham, Spennymoor, Shildon and Stanley. The Government continues to invest in active travel for all and the benefits that brings to individuals and wider society. Durham County Council is delivering on many infrastructure schemes, projects, campaigns and initiatives to enable and encourage more people to walk and cycle as an active mode of transport, both as part of our long-term approach, demonstrated through the Strategic Cycling and Walking Delivery Plan, and in response to new opportunities and funding bids. And these include the Local Transport Plan Implementation Programme, Transforming Cities Fund, Active Travel Fund, and travel plans Borrow a Bike and Love to Ride. LSWIPs are an important part of this overall work that we are doing to encourage short journeys to be carried out by foot or by cycle. They provide an evidence-based approach to identifying cycling and walker infrastructure improvements required to increase active travel for short everyday journeys. The key focus of LSWIPs is to inspire and enable modal shift so that these quick, short journeys in the local areas will be more convenient, direct, safer and more enjoyable to undertake. The Government recommends that local authorities prepare LSWIPs as part of their cycling and walking investment strategy and are prioritising funding for those authorities which have developed such plans. And therefore, it is imperative that we can demonstrate our commitment through the approval of the plans and the development of plans for more towns to be eligible for government funding. This report covers those areas as set out, which is part of the second phase of production of 12 LSWIPs for the county. And the Council has committed to producing the County Council's Strategic Cycling and Walking Delivery Plan. The 12th LSWIP for Barnard Castle will be produced as a further report following a new process which is currently under development. The plans present a robust approach for prioritising investment in local walking and cycling infrastructure in the short, medium and long term, and will support the County Council in making the case for future investment. The key outputs for each town are to achieve a walking, cycling and network plan. The LSWIPs will be embedded across the County Council services supporting transport, environment, health, leisure and planning agendas. Funding to promote the LSWIP was secured from the Government Active Travel Capability Fund. Chair, the recommendation for this report is set out in section 15. The Cabinet is recommended to approve the remaining 8 LSWIPs for Bishop Auckland, Consett, Crook, Peterlee, Seaham, Spennymoor, Shildon and Stanley. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. And can I invite Councillor Elizabeth Scott, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Economy and Partnerships, to move the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the report on the 8 LSWIPs in County Durham. The plans are an important part of the future of active travel across the county, and I'd like to thank staff for all of the hard work in pulling these together. It's been quite a task. The plans give us the evidence that we need to source funding to build better paths for people to travel on foot and by bike for everyday journeys to school, work, the shops and other key destinations without the need to get in the car. Not only will increasing participation in active travel help support and improve individual mental and physical health and wealth, but it also brings wider benefits which contribute to measures to tackle climate emergency and which provide a more accessible network for more people to use, especially in categories which are currently underrepresented. I'd also like to thank the stakeholders who've been involved in all areas for their valuable contributions throughout the process. Stakeholder engagement is a vital part of the process and has helped shape the network plans for each of these areas. Further consultation will be carried out as part of the delivery of each scheme, and we welcome the continued input of local users, key stakeholders and partner organisations as part of the development of the walking and cycling network for the greatest benefit. I therefore propose that we approve the LSWIPs for Bishop Auckland, Consett, Crook, Peterlee, Seaham, Spennymoor, Shildon and Stanley as set out in the report. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Can I invite Councillor Mark Wilkes, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Neighbourhoods and Climate Change, to second the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. This report clearly sets out our commitment to providing more and better infrastructure for active travel. Since we took over running the Council, we have already brought forward plans for cycling improvements in Chesterley Street, Durham and Newton Aycliffe. Now we have plans for a further 8 towns, showing that the Joint Administration is committed to engaging with stakeholders, funders and partners to deliver the short and long-term delivery goals of these local cycling and infrastructure plans. This will ensure that we're ready to bid and secure even more funding. It's also worth saying that these plans are just part of the wider work which we are carrying out to improve our cycling and walking networks across the county, with more investment going into public rights-of-way cycle routes and paths than we have seen for many years. I second the proposal for the Council to approve the LSWIPs and look forward to us continuing to work together as a joint administration, improving all parts of our wonderful county. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Mark. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this report? Can we agree the report and its recommendations, please?
Agreed.
Okay, I can confirm that the recommendations are agreed. Item 8, Barningham Parish Meeting, application for order conferring functions of a parish council. Can I ask James Etherington, the Deputy Monitoring Officer, to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. Barningham Parish Meeting have made an application to the County Council to make an order conferring the functions of a parish council on them. The report sets out the background to parish meetings and the powers that they have. All parishes must have a parish meeting, regardless of whether or not they have a parish council. The purpose of the parish meeting is to discuss the affairs of the parish and exercise any statutory functions. Those functions are set out at paragraph 17 of the report. Where there is no parish council, the chair of the parish meeting and the proper officer of the relevant authority, which in this case is the head of Legal and Democratic Services, are the parish trustees. Contracts with the parish meeting are signed by the parish trustees and property vests in them. The trustees must act in accordance with the directions given by the parish meeting. Parish meetings are able to levy a precept, and Barningham does. The details are set out at paragraph 15 to the report. For 2022-2023, the precept was £1,200, and for 23-24 it is £1,600. The application from Barningham was initially for full powers of a parish council. However, as set out in paragraph 23 of the report, the parish meeting wants the powers to provide financial support to the Village Hall Committee in relation to the maintenance and improvement of the Village Hall, annual mowing of the village green, maintenance of a grazing field, village features such as a bus stop and seating, and miscellaneous expenditure such as maintenance of a defibrillator and the Village Hall website. Details of the parish meeting's expenditure are set out at paragraph 33 of the report. The parish meeting is already undertaking the activities for which it seeks powers. The application simply seeks to regularise that position. Whilst the application, as I said, was initially for full powers, it is recommended that powers are only conferred in relation to the activities to be undertaken. Barningham's a small parish and does not need to be burdened with the additional accounting and audit requirements which would come with having full powers. The parish meeting considered the proposal to confer limited powers at its annual meeting on the 26th of April 2023, and there was unanimous support for it from its residents. The local county councillors have been consulted on the proposals and have no objection to the proposed order being made. If Cabinet does decide to confer powers, it retains the opportunity to review those powers at a later date and can choose to extend or rescind them as may be appropriate. It's recommended that the conferring of powers is subject to the parish meeting indemnifying the head of legal and democratic services as proper officer in relation to any action or failure to act arising out of the duties placed upon that post in relation to the parish meeting. If the order is made, there is a requirement for the order to be shared with the relevant Secretary of State. The recommendations, Chair, are at paragraph 5 of the report.
Thanks, James. Can I invite Councillor Richard Bell, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Finance, to move the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Barningham is a picturesque village in the Barnard Castle East division of the county, and as has been said, in the absence of a parish council, the Barningham Parish Meeting has ensured that the amenities of the parish, in particular the village hall, the village green and other village features like the bus shelter, are supported and maintained. The support of the parish meeting is essential to maintaining Barningham in a good condition, and with only 150 electors, the parish is too small to establish a parish council. However, in the absence of appropriate powers, the parish meeting would be unable to continue to support the village as it currently does. I therefore support the proposal to confer the powers which will enable the parish meeting to continue to support the village as set out at paragraph 23 of the report, and I move the recommendation that Council makes an order under section 109(1) of the Local Government Act 1972 to confer upon the Barningham Parish Meeting the powers of expenditure available to parish councils. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Richard. Can I invite Councillor James Rowlandson, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Resources, Investment and Assets, to second the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councillor Bell's comments. The relevant provision of the Local Government Act 1972 are not widely known and seldom used. I would like to thank the Council's legal team for their work with the Barningham Parish Meeting and facilitating their application. I agree that it is unnecessary to confer the full powers of a parish council, but it is important to confer the limited powers necessary to ensure that the parish meeting can continue to support the maintenance of the village amenities. I am therefore happy to second the recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, James. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this report? Okay, can we agree the report and its recommendations? Agreed. Okay, can confirm that the recommendations are agreed. Item 9, Home to School Transport Services. Consultation outcomes. This is a joint report for the Corporate Director of Children and Young People and the Economy and Growth Director. Can I ask John Pearce, Corporate Director of Children and Young People Services, to present the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. The report sets out for Cabinet the outcome of the Home to School Transport consultation that was agreed to start at the February meeting. The programme of work to improve our home to school transport provision described in the background section of the report is required to enable a sustainable approach and to address the challenges that are described in paragraph 22. Growing demand and inflation has seen the cost of the service rise to £23.4 million in 22-23, which was £3.9 million over budget. A further increase in the 23-24 budget takes it to 29.1 million, reflecting estimated increases in demand and cost pressures. The consultation took place between 27th of February and the 12th of April, and particularly focused on the following priority areas that were set out in the review previously. So we looked at concessionary transport scheme, single-person journeys, promoting independence, unsafe walking routes, and a range of procurement options. The consultation included a public survey, targeted briefings and meetings, and paragraphs 30 to 31 in the report detail the consultation activities and the wide range of channels used to ensure awareness of it. In total, we received 324 responses to the online questionnaire, as well as written responses from various stakeholder groups. The responses are referenced throughout the report in relevant sections. In addition, a full summary of responses to the questionnaire is in Appendix 2, and a summary of the questions and themes from the consultation meetings is included as Appendix 3. Feedback from the consultation has been supportive of most of the Council's proposals and provides a really strong basis from which to develop a programme of change for the service going forward. A detailed breakdown of the proposals consulted on and the responses received during the consultation period is included in the report from paragraph 36 through to paragraph 130. And as an outcome of the consultation, the following areas are proposed to be taken forward as part of the next phase of the Home to School Transport programme. Firstly, an increase in the charge for concessionary schemes to £2 per journey. This is less than the proposed £2.80 consulted upon and is in line with the capped fares proposed in the bus service improvement plan. We're suggesting a move towards phasing out of concessionary scheme with a further appraisal of options to achieve this whilst minimising impact on families currently accessing the service. Recommendations will come back in a future Cabinet report following on from that appraisal of options. We will undertake a review of the needs of children receiving single-person transport to ensure the most appropriate form of transport is provided, and also review the existing personal transport budget scheme to ensure it is easier for parents to access it. We will also work with schools and parents to establish an independent travel scheme and undertake a trial of pick-up points and assess how effective this approach may be for some children. We're also proposing to review unsafe walking routes where there is significant impact on specific schools, and finally our approach to procurement of home to school transport, considering a range of options identified from benchmarking exercises and good practice. An equality impact assessment has been undertaken. The findings of that are covered in paragraphs 131 and 132 of the report, with the full EIA attached as Appendix 4. The full recommendations to Cabinet are in paragraph 13 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, John. Can I invite Councillor Ted Henderson, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Children and Young People Services, to move the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Home school transport. It's a vital service to a lot of the families to ensure that the children and young people can attend a school in a safe way. It is a complex operation and involves delivering 1,000 transport routes and working with 300 contractors and suppliers. Growing demand, as we have heard, has through inflation, has risen the cost of the service from £23.4 million in 22-23, which is £3.9 million above the budget. The budget for 23-24 has been further increased to £29.1 million to reflect estimated increases in demand and the cost pressures. Whilst the County Council must meet the statutory duty to provide free transport to children and young people who meet specific criteria, we must also look at the sustainability of the service and explore positive opportunities to transform a provision and control the expenditure. The 2021 review of the service identified that we currently provide transport services which go beyond our statutory duty and which are not provided in most other county councils. We therefore consulted on a range of proposals to seek the stakeholders' views on how best to transform the service as we move on. The proposals were aimed at supporting the Council's environmental policies, being safe for providers and users of the service, meet identified needs of the young people, supporting the independence of the young people where it is appropriate, and delivering efficiency and value for money. Feedback to the consultation has been very supportive of most of the Council's proposals and provides a strong basis from which to develop a transformation programme for the service. However, we have also listened to the stakeholders' feedback in relation to the proposed charge of £2.80 per day for the concessionary scheme, and have now reduced the charge to £2 per day. I therefore propose the recommendation in paragraph 13 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Ted. Can I invite Councillor Richard Bell, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Finance, to second the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. As members are aware, the Council is facing unprecedented pressures on the financing of its services and must continue to look at ways we can continue to meet the needs of our citizens as efficiently and affordably as possible. As we've heard, home-to-school transport services have seen increasing demand and price pressures which have significantly raised expenditure levels. Expenditure in 22-23 was £23.4 million, which has more than doubled over a period of 4 years. And we are estimating additional increases in 23-24 and have increased the budget further to £29.1 million. These figures and levels of increases are simply no longer affordable. The report sets out transformation priorities for the next few years, which will help to tackle increasing levels of expenditure and demand. And as portfolio holder for finance, I therefore fully support the recommendations given at paragraph 13. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the report? Councillor Scott?
Thank you. The report being considered today provides a clear overview of the challenges being experienced in providing home-to-school transport in County Durham, challenges which are being experienced by all councils. These have escalated over the last 18 months due to the lasting impact of COVID-19 and other world events which have impacted on transport providers, especially in relation to the recruitment and retention of drivers and operating costs. Feedback to the consultation highlighted the need to balance the individual needs and safety of young people with opportunities to do things differently and the need to maintain a strong transport market. The recommendations in the report represent a balanced programme of work which will ensure we continue to comply with our statutory duties while developing aspects of provision which we can do more efficiently. It's imperative that we move swiftly to implement the recommendations so that we can have a sustainable and robust service.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Can we agree the report and its recommendations? Okay, I can confirm that the recommendations are agreed. Item 10 is any other business. I haven't been notified of any other business for today's meeting, so I'd like to thank everyone for taking part, to those members of the public and media who've watched the meeting online, and to the people who've attended in person. That concludes the business for this meeting.